Well, here we go. It's wide open. We got 1 day and 35 food plots. It's go time.
A lot of us use attractants, bait, whatever, where we can, where it's legal.
That's right.
But it's more to position a shot and a deer, right? It's not to feed the herd, right? And that's where I think the two different things.
Every place is different though, because there's some places, a guy who's got some lease ground, if he's trying to feed his herd, let's say he's got, and this is very normal, like at home, let's say a 1,000-acre hunting club, or a guy that leases a 1,000-acre, him and a couple buddies, they don't have 3 acres of food plots on the whole place.
Yes. Yeah.
So if he's doing that, well, he can take a couple 600-pound boss bucks and he can feed his herd.
Yes.
Because I've got some places like that. Like at my house, that's got my name on the bag, and I cut my feeder off there the other day because I got the bachelor pad that tall. I'm wasting money,
But see, Slade's wife lets him feed his deer more than our wives.
That's
So
right.
I'm a working guy who's also got to be home. So I'm trying to go with a broader approach and saying, okay, I'm going to plant it real good. And I'm only going to give them a 50-pound sack here and there, But that way you're positioning a shot.
Like both of y'all said, man, ain't nothing better than planting that field.
That's right.
To hold them and then putting that boss buck or putting something on the ground or whatever you want to do to get that shot.
That's
and
right.
it goes
That's
in.
right.
This, of course, this may go way off in the weeds, and it's fine if it does. Me and you talked about it last night. See, his background is a biologist, so he can dive into a lot of when you start talking about what a deer's eating and protein levels and all that stuff. But a variety is important from a food plot, supplemental feed. Whether you're feeding Protein Plus, you're feeding Buck Trio, whatever. And we treat our blends of our attractants and supplemental feeds at Backwoods, we treat them the same as food plots. Like, it's a variety. You can take Flame Kiss for Slade, he's the spokesperson on it. Well, it's not the reason everybody would think. It's like, well, Slade, I guess Flame Kiss is the best. Well, it's not. Flame Kiss has soybeans in it. Well, he has bears in South Mississippi. Oh. So he has figured out that with our roasted soybeans, when that bear comes in there and eats it the first time, tears his stomach up.
They don't, and disclaimer, it's not a fix-all.
Right.
It is they will, like, if they come up to a field full of protein, they'll eat it till it's gone and lay under. That soybean, they kid it once or twice. It just it's a lot better. And something else, another reason I like it so much, go back to a money standpoint, like me, if I've got some areas, I got some properties that they will not walk up to a boss buck, but they be eating at somebody's spin feeder on the neighbor forever. And so that's something big. I did podcasting on this the other day. Like, if you can figure out what your neighbors are feeding, if your neighbors are seeing your picture, pay attention to what feeder they're feeding out of.
Yeah.
And with the Flame Kiss, I can feed protein out of a spin feeder.
Hey,
he's
from Mississippi.
I come to kill.
Like my deer is just the opposite. So they will walk up to a boss buck. I swear to God, if you put a spin cast out there and they hear it go off one time, that buck will not come back.
See, I think that's more common more common, but it's all about what they're used to. But I find that a gravity type feeder is easier to get them to transition to than, because if a deer walks up there and this is good, there's corn everywhere, and that thing goes off, he may never look at that feeder again.
So DJ Kansas, are you straight protein pellet? Is that preference?
So I am. I'm
like
early
moving into early season.
Yep.
So here we are, July. Everybody's moving that way.
So I'm a little bit different. I take a little more holistic approach to it. So we use attractants more for shot opportunities than anything. So where it's legal and if we bait, it is almost always for shot opportunities. I think in certain situations and certain properties, I think protein feeders are fine.
Yep.
Get it. It works for people.
Yep.
It does. People love them. It works. But for where we are, it's not really necessary.
Right.
Just like what we talked about last night. Like, instead of dumping, and I tell some of my landowners this too, in certain areas, like, instead of dumping that money into a feeder put some of that money back into your property.
Right.
Where we can get the same amount of food, way more food.
Yeah.
Same amount of protein levels for the most part, but now it's all
Planting
across your
plots,
property.
right, that's right.
You know, whether it's food plots, whether we're going in, we're doing prescribed fire, whether we're doing, you know, timber thinning, things like that. Like, we can create the variety that we've all been talking about naturally on your property. So again, I think protein feeders have their advantages in some areas, and then I think for some areas that you just don't need them. They're just not necessary. Like, you've already got it there.
Heavy crop in your area. Hay,
I would say it's a pretty good mix as far as fields go between pasture land and ag. You know, historically it was all native prairie ground. A lot of that has been converted either into ag or pasture ground, which is a lot of fescue, things like that. So we fight some of those things in a lot of our land management that we do. Like, we're trying to convert a lot of those old pasture fallow fields, things like that, back into native prairie ground. But we have a pretty good mix, again, kind of being in that Midwest Prairie Belt region. We've got good soils, we've got really good nutrition. It's really similar to what you guys have here. You know, and so instead of, again, dumping that money into a protein feeder, I would rather take a little bit of that, dump it back into your property, and you know, take a little more holistic approach. But we do have properties where it's not a bad thing. Put it in. I don't have any issues with it. I think it can be really good. But we do use a lot of attractants for, again, those shot opportunities. You know,
I thought one of the you know, interesting deal to wrap your mind around is how you got, you know, a deer's going to graze. So you got, like, you can put, you know, our Protein Plus is 18% protein. You can put that 18% protein in that feeder and keep it full all the time. Your deer is still, that does not mean that deer is eating 18% protein. It is factoring
on the way.
Yeah. So if he's eating you know, I'm not a, you know, I don't know all the exact percentages, but if he grabs a sweet gum and you're taking everything in his gut, that's his protein level. It's what is in there. So if you're feeding, you know, if the plants that the property has is averaging 22% plants, and you're feeding 18%, then you're really the lowest thing that deer is inside his stomach.
Or vice versa. A lot of people don't realize where all your protein feeds, like ours is 18%, and the reason it is there is a deer can only process 16. I'm getting more in his level.
Yeah.
But if he's on the way there and he's eating their 10 or 12% bar, and then he comes and gets 18 here, we're trying to get to 16.
That's right. Yeah.
To learn more and see additional content, make sure you follow Backwoods Premium Wildlife Products social media pages. And don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel.
All these are tools, right? And it's just like a mechanic or a guy. He's not going to walk in there with a tool belt with only a crescent wrench or only a hammer, right? He's got all of his tools that he's going to use to get the job done. Same thing with all the products that Backwoods has to offer, is whether it's feed, whether it's food plot seed or whatever, feeder seed. They're all tools. And one thing I would challenge anybody, because I hear it all the time. Well, you got that seed with a pretty picture on it. It's got Key's picture on the front. It's expensive. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, I will challenge a lot of people. Is let's say you've bought your clover at the co-op, and so is every other farmer in the area that's enrolled into some CRP program, and he's got the around his tree lines in that clover. Well, guess what? You go get whatever you want to call it, Keith's picture on the front. You go get that different bag of seed that is studied and it's more grown to attract deer.
Right.
And you plant that in a little area. Go plant you some co-op seed right beside it too, and you sit there and watch the difference.
Yeah.
And
It's the same way with attractants too. If you like. I wish I had Barrett Van Cleve sitting here. Me and him talk about this constantly. It's like, okay, if you got a deer, let me say, he's eating rice bran here, or well, God, he's not getting there in time for the day. Sometimes you can change a little roasted soybeans, like cast it out of a feeder or something like that. It's like if he knows he's got to get there a little bit early. And going back to your point, if you're providing a better product, if your neighbor only has corn going in this feeder, and you can throw a little protein in yours, even if we're on a budget, throw a little protein, throw a little soybeans, makes all the difference in the world.
And I'm gonna come back to
vice versa, just like you talked about, Slade. If you got your little small piece of property and you know your neighbor's has got soybeans, he's got protein feeders, he's got all the deer. But a lot of guys where I hunt, they have great spots, but it's small. May not be able to go in there and put that really nice food plot up.
Right.
Man, give them the sweet tooth, what I call it. The way you can get them is they're eating protein every day. They want something a little sweet. They'll come over there, attract them over. They'll come over there.
Chris saw it firsthand on sweet stuff. So anyway, it was Kansas having trouble with the deer. Anyways, night, and that this place had in the past just fed corn, and he comes in, and all of a sudden, I told Chris, I said, take sweet stuff. And he was going up early. He was going to feed it for a couple days, and then he's going to let it sit and then go back and hunt it. So he goes up there, he puts sweet stuff, it's daylight. Well, that formula in sweet stuff was designed, is high protein. So it's 18% protein, it's peanut, it's heavy. It's not just a carb, it's a heavy.
I am a firm believer. Right here.
Hey,
it gets them in there and it holds them in there.
That's what I've been eating with that 1% milk.
That's what I'm saying. You get in, you have a little nibble, you swell up, and you got to come back
Feel
for
good.
more.
Yeah, every 2 or 3 hours
Yeah.
I'm in it.
Yeah.
That's it, buddy.
Every 2 or 3. Well, it shows.
Hey, that's the truth. We've tried to tell them. This trip, I believe, we made some believers. Deer like the sweet stuff.
Heavy. So the deer comes in, he eats, he leaves. Well, 2 hours later, I'm hungry, go back.
And I checked that card, it hadn't been there 2 days. That thing was there every 2 hours.
Dang.
And 100%, he went from all nighttime, and 4 days later, he's dead. And it was it's not, sweet stuff's a great formula, but it's a well thought out, and a lot went into it, and it worked.
Yeah.
There's a lot we come out with that nobody ever hear about because it wasn't better.
Yeah.
There he is. I think I see him, Joe. Oh my God, it's the Joe. He's coming right in. What's that dog doing? She's just walking the other way now. You're good. He's at the sweet stuff. You got him right there? Did I drop him? You dropped him. No freaking way. I got him, Joey. I was so nervous, dude. I was squeezing. Look, I was squeezing, and then the spike come by, then that other buck, and the other buck was back this way, and he dropped his head, and I was like, "Doo!" and he melted, and you said, "You got him." I couldn't tell, but I think I just melted him. Oh, they called me. He must have heard the shot. Hello? 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 I got service. Hey. It's a giant! Dude, he was quarter to me. I said, this doe was staring a hole in us. And I was like, I'm gonna put it right on the front of his shoulder, and I just touched it. Joey, he's way bigger than that dude. He comes in he's a giant, ain't he? Oh, God. Day 4, baby. Small town hunt. We just killed a giant. Hey, can you hear me? Hey.
Dude, you got him?
He's giant. I got him. He's down in the sweet stuff.
Dude, we heard you shoot. I was like, you forgot your first 180, bro.
Dude, hey, I'm just gonna go and tell you, he is way bigger than he looks on camera. Oh my God. He comes straight out of behind the trail camera, straight to the sweet stuff. Quarter to me, I had other little bucks around him. I was like, I gotta take it. I had a doe at 30 and she was staring a hole in us. And I was like, I'm gonna put it on the front of his shoulder and send it out the other side. And I squeezed the trigger. And Joey said, you melted him. He's laying right there, dude. He's a mega giant.
How big is he?
I have no idea. 180, 90, 200, big. I mean, he's big.
He's stunned, ain't he?
He's humongous, Peanut. He's a giant, dude. I can't take it no longer. Let's go. Dude, I don't reload it just in case. Cody, I ain't saying nothing, but this could be bigger.
No, Joe.
I don't know, Cody. He looks huge. Like I know that's him. It's got to be him because all I was looking at, I didn't even count his point. I just knew it from the front end.
We heard it from the
Look at his rack, cuz.
Oh. Hey, you see a rat picking up all the things?
Oh,
There's a hammer, brother.
oh, that's him. And the sweet stuff, baby. That's him. I told you. Yeah. God, dog, Peanut, he's a mega giant. That's a freaking giant, dude. God dang, boy. God, don't make 200. God dang, that's a giant.
This sucker gonna walk all the way through the beans, straight to the sweet stuff, and that's where he rests, boy.
God dog, boy. I put the hammer down with him, baby. I'm talking about, look, right there. Right in the shoulder. Boom. Quarter to me. And I was like, I ain't wasting no, that doe was pegging me. Come on, Peanut. Peanut.
Around there with him.
Have you ever touched one this big, Peanut? No. Well, I know you've been guy in Illinois a long time. They got them like this, but huh? Let's count them. Because we didn't know he had this many. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here's one big one. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 scorables.
Is that even the same deer?
Yeah, it's the same deer.
So why don't we do this? I want to put Chris on the spot a minute because we all know there's a bunch of hunters out there they're trying to figure out what's the best way I can buy the least amount of bags and kill that one deer. We're all hunting on a budget, right?
No doubt.
So Chris has got to have some tactic, you know.
5-pound bag of sweet stuff right there.
You just got to give them a little bit of that stuff throughout the year.
They know what it is.
And they got to know what it is, but 2 days before you go, you need to get him. And you know the wind's going to be right. You need to feed him, let it sit a day, and then go in there the next day. What happens is you feed him, he's going to continue to show up that night like he's generally been doing.
Yep.
And then I found the next day, you're going to look on that camera, he's going to be in the daylight. Then you go the next day to hunt him, he's going to come in early.
He is sole purpose
Oh,
why
yeah.
sweet stuff
Just tell
used to be only 40 pounds, and he's the sole purpose of why we went to a 5-pound bag option also. He'll go a couple 40s, and then they'll just eat corn for a little while, because, he'll budget his bucks now.
Yeah,
I'm just telling you.
that's my man.
It's been
Right
You
like-
there,
can
you
plan
know?
all you want. I just
Yeah.
need one little bag.
I'm gonna tell you, my boy Joey, he was about excited as I was. I can't believe that redneck even stayed up.
No stealth cam picture, anything showed the mass.
No, and when he came out, see, I was looking for this because I knew him from the crabs. And when he came out, I told Joey,
10-inch crab.
I said, there he is, Joey. And Joey even said after we were getting down and everything, he goes, dude, when I zoomed to him and focused, I said, oh my God. Dude, he came out in the broad daylight. I'm talking about walking straight at us, straight to us. I mean, it's unbelievable.
I'm gonna tell you, I ain't product pimping, but when you got with that freaking sweet stuff, dude. I mean, walking 100 yards through their favorite food.
They all came right there, and Peanut did it again. He sprayed the crave on the edge of that field. They all came that way, straight in. He came out. He saw all the deer right here. Never even checked up. Just walked straight out. It was his day, baby. It was his day.
No, it was your day.
So let me ask you a question. You got a 5-pound bag of sweet stuff. Let's say you're going hunting with somebody and they got a corn pile that they've been running a camera over, yay big. What are you gonna do with that 5 pounds?
So I'm gonna take my 5 pounds and I'm gonna put it off to the side a little bit, away from all them deer and that corn.
That's a good point.
Shoot him over.
And that buck's gonna walk straight to it.
Yeah.
All them, the 2 or 3 days on the corn.
Depending on which way the
wind's
wind's blowing, if I can get him to smell it.
That's a good
I think
point.
that the smell of those products more than anything, it's like, oh, that's
And
a good stuff.
I'll tell you a trick too, since we're talking about it. I mean, a snort line, we call it, like a long straight line, is a whole lot better than a pile. If you pile it up, sometimes they spook from it. Any deer.
Don't know
come
why
to
they
the
do that.
track.
I
But if
have
you'll put it
friends of
really
mine-
low to the ground and put your line
I
up.
have a Barrett friend of mine. He will walk up to his piles with a stick and he'll beat
Oh,
it
you
out
can't have
like
it.
a deer
Been-
has already been
Yeah.
there.
Yep.
And
You don't want no high pile.
Yeah.
Look, I know all
You
about
don't want
this.
that smell.
Man,
You don't want to look like an ant pile. It needs to look like just a good wild pile.
well, I ain't gonna lie. You
Stay tuned
I-
for more YouTube videos. The proper
Yeah.
techniques, and he's
Oh, yeah.
gonna have a tape measure, 2 inches high.
About 2 inches and about 6 foot long. That's perfect.